Hey friends, and welcome back to my channel. If you are new to my channel, my name is Neka Friedel, aka Neka F, and I welcome you all to my channel. So today is March 19th, 2020. Today also marks 1 month since the murder of Pop Smoke, or Bashar Baraka Jackson, aka Pop Smoke. And I have never done a video like this. I'm sure, like other people, this has affected me in a way that I felt like I needed to do a quick video on this. In this past month since he was taken away from the world, I have been really obsessed with going through all his interviews that I could find on YouTube, with watching videos, with just trying to figure out why. No, I don't know him. No, I've never met him. I am just a fellow New Yorker. And I do feel like people who are from New York, I'm from the Bronx, not from Brooklyn, but I do feel like people who are from New York City felt it. And I feel like New York City definitely took a loss from his passing. Honestly, I've been so obsessed that I began to question my sanity. Had several dreams of like saving him, being in that house in the Hollywood Hills and saving him. And I've also watched a lot of like tarot card readings. And I'm not sure where to go with this, because I did write notes in hopes that I would be able to stick to all the ideas that came to me. I'm just very distraught about it still. You know, I understand people die every day. 2020 has been taking people left, right, front, center, sideways, up and down. I'm very grateful that no one super close to me has passed. But this one hurt. So far, we as the public, what we know is there have been arrests. We know that he was killed in his Hollywood Airbnb owned by Teddy Mellencamp's husband, she is a real housewife of Beverly Hills. We know that the people who were arrested are most likely not the people who called the shots, if you know what I mean. I've watched, as I said, his tarot card readings over and over and over and under. So shout out to Eagles Fly with Eagles. His tarot card reading he did 1 week before, or at least he posted it. He posted it to YouTube 1 week prior to Pop Smoke's death. And the last card that he had, which I believe was a 5 of Cups, which represents sudden loss. And as even in the beginning of his video, he opened up with, he was feeling a whole lot of bad energy when it came to Pop Smoke. And in the end, when we had that card, or when he had that card, when he pulled that card, he didn't even choose to speak about it. So it's like as if he knew that that's what that meant, but he didn't say anything about it. Either way, if it wasn't supposed to happen, it wouldn't have happened. And I have to keep telling myself that. If it wasn't supposed to happen, there would have been security. If it wasn't supposed to happen, he may not have gotten on the plane. He might have gotten a stomach ache. He might have felt sick and decided to cancel his trip. There are so many factors of what could have happened, but didn't happen because that's not how it's supposed to go. I just think it's unfortunate that it had to be him. Even if the person who pulled the trigger wasn't somebody he knew, it did not come off. The entire process didn't happen so seamlessly without someone he knew knowing what was going on. And That's exactly why I agree with what Nicki Minaj posted, what 50 Cent posted about jealousy. Anybody who interviewed him, they saw that light. Everyone who talked to him, put him on video, they saw that light. They saw his potential. They saw his ability. And that's not something that comes every day. So it saddens me to know that someone that he most likely called friend, believing that someone that he knew had something to do with this, is really saddening to me. And I've been talking to so many people about it. I've wanted to hear so many people's opinions, and again, questioning my sanity and other people questioning my sanity. I just feel like he deserved a chance to grow up. You know, there are so many memes that say if Maya Angelou had died at 20, she would have died as a, had Malcolm X died at 20, he would have died as a, people need a chance to grow up and learn from their lessons and learn from their mistakes. And I'll be honest with you, even if this played out and he was still shot, I was still hoping that he would have lived, so he could live to tell the story, so that he could live to learn that not everybody is your friend. And some people disagree with me when I say, even though he didn't look his age, I do feel like there are just certain things that people who have lived a little longer may not have made those type of mistakes. Whether or not you're in the streets, we can all get caught slipping no matter what age we are. But in this case, knowing, you know, this whole social media thing is just really terrible. Sometimes it's good, but it's like constantly flashing, constantly letting everyone know where you're at, what you're doing. It's not healthy. Like, as I believe someone said, I don't know if it was DJ Academics or someone, maybe Complex. I watched so many interviews. I don't remember all of them. I don't remember, I get them a little bit mixed up, but someone was talking about how, like, Fabulous, the rapper, obviously, Fabulous, he'll take pictures, he'll make videos of somewhere he's at, and then 4 days later, put that on his Instagram and put the location because he's not there anymore. But I also think that that's something that comes with age. That's something that comes with experience. And people have argued with me because they feel like he was in the streets, that, you know, I said to myself that he's never been in a situation where, or I don't feel like him being at his age and him being like surrounded by love, so to speak, by people who are supportive of him and his dream, that he's never been betrayed by someone he's really close with. Yes, we hear, oh, the ops, but I don't know if he's ever experienced the ops being his own people. For me, that came with age. For me, knowing that people who are close to me can be just as dangerous as people who I call ops, that came with age. And it's unfortunate because I don't believe that he was ever in a situation. He's obviously never been in a situation where instead of being on the same playing level as the rest of his friends, he's actually exponentially moving or projecting exponentially. So once you're on this rise, all the people who were on your level playing field most likely will feel some type of way. Not saying that you're not going to have people who support you still, but some people who aren't on this wave, aren't going the same way you're going, aren't moving as fast as you're moving, they might harbor some resentment. And that resentment will fester and become jealousy. And some people want to take that away. Instead of being happy for you, instead of being inspired by you and stating, oh, if you made it, I can make it too. I'm gonna just have to work as hard, or if not harder, to get where you went, to get where you got to. Instead of that, a lot of people's mentality is, you got that, I want it. I'm not gonna work hard for it, I'm gonna just take it away. And if I can't take it away from you, I'm just gonna end you. So you can't have it either. As I said, I watched a lot of tarot card readings. There are a lot of people who have commented they felt like Pop Smoke has been here before. And that made me start thinking about Biggie. That made me start thinking, well, Biggie was killed 23 years ago. Pop Smoke was only 20. That's possible. It's possible that Biggie was reincarnated. And I mean, this isn't a joking matter, but I just thought to myself, if you look at Pop Smoke and if you look at a lot of the people he was hanging with, they were all twigs. Pop Smoke was a little thick, good thick. He was a little thick. And I just think maybe Biggie decided he wanted a body that wasn't as big, but thick, not super skinny, you know? For all we know, and he said, as Pop Smoke has said in an interview, he had an old soul. Possible. There was also a video that I watched. It was BMG Upper Class. He talked about Albanians. He talked about the Wraith owner. Pop Smoke said it was all cap in his interview with Angie Martinez. We don't know that for sure. We do know that he was arrested in regards to that. But I did want to make a correction because I thought that Teddy Mellencamp's husband was Albanian and the owner of the Wraith was Albanian. So that gave me a little bit more of an angle, because one thing I know about Albanians, you don't play with them. There is an Albanian Mafia. You don't mess with Albanians, okay? So I was a little bit taken aback by that, and I started looking into it. But it turns out, at least from what the internet says, that Teddy Mellencamp's husband is Colombian. Colombians still have dangerous people. I'm just saying that the Albanian thing, the Albanian link isn't, I don't believe, correct. On social media, he's cool with Bob Carking. He's cool with Teddy the Don, other people that he could have gotten the car from for his video. So why did he reach out to this person, allegedly, to use his car versus them? We don't know what was going on, but Bob Carking, Teddy the Don, those are the people who drove the expensive cars, the exotic cars in the funeral procession, for anybody who doesn't know. So I just was wondering why that was necessary. If he had other people who he could use cars for. He could use cars for his videos. I believe was shot in his chest. We don't know if he was shot in his heart or not. Well, one thing we do know from previous interviews that Pop Smoke has done, that he had to stop playing sports because of the severity of his heart murmur. And for anyone who doesn't know, your heart murmur means that your blood is not pumping as well. And especially under stress, it might become turbulent blood and might even regurgitate, and the blood that's supposed to be pumped out to the rest of your body will end up going backwards, which can mess things up. So that is possible, is a possibility why he didn't survive. We don't know if the bullet punctured his lungs or lung. We don't know how many, I don't even know how many bullets. But we don't know if you are taken off or aren't allowed to play sports because of your condition, because you don't want to put your heart under too much stress. It's possible, the stress of getting hit messed with your heart, obviously, but that could be why it was more difficult for him to survive. People who, I know people personally, my brother had gotten shot 6 times right down the block from my house. And guess who set him up? Somebody he called best friend. Not friend, best friend. And from that day forward, I knew I had my own experiences with betrayal, but from that day forward, I knew even the people close to you can be your enemies. My brother fortunately did live. But yeah, I'm sure we all have experiences where we figure out that some friends ain't friends. What else the public knows? Because we really don't know a lot. The people are being quiet. If this really was a hit, we believe it is a hit, and there is someone on top who ordered that hit on him. Must be somebody who has money, because LAPD ain't talking. And in a day and age where there's so much technology, there's so many cameras, in a neighborhood like the Hollywood Hills, there are cameras. Why don't we know anything other than these people were arrested? We don't know who they are. Even the people who, the black men who murdered XXX Tentacion, we know what they look like. And so that gave a little bit of closure, somewhat. But lips are really pressed together in this situation, and I don't like it. He had bodyguards. I just don't believe that they were present at the time. And I just keep finding that interesting, that the people who are paid to protect you happen to not be there when they're supposed to protect you most. But again, everything happens for a reason. Maybe those bodyguards weren't supposed to be there, so they wouldn't have taken bullets, so they wouldn't have died. We don't know. But these are all things that go through my head, and it bothers me. As the public knows, we know that 50 Cent, someone Pop Smoke really looked up to a lot. He's going to be EPing his album, and the album is set to come out in May, Meet the Woo 3. So we'll see how that goes. I'm sure from what we heard from Pop Smoke's DJ, I think it's DJ JP, I think, that Pop Smoke has over 400 songs. So he was definitely working. In the time that he was here, he was working hard. He was trying to get his music out. So I'm happy for that. And his songs will live on. His music will live on. His art will live on. And even when it came to that, you've heard Charlemagne the God talk about a lot as well, that you hear certain people talk about, is what you put out in the universe. And one of my favorite sayings is, God is watching, but the universe is listening. If you look at even like Pop Smoke's Christopher Walking video, and you hear the words, and yeah, you can say it's just songs, but in reality, when you say things out loud, when you put them out there, they're there. And you have to be cognizant of the fact that they are there. Words are not wind, words are spirits. And what you say, the universe can take up and maybe hold on to it for a little while. But when it's ready to give it back to you, you just won't know. You may not be prepared. Even the rumor that he was having a party, I just find it very interesting. Again, we are in a time of social media. If you're having diarrhea, someone's gonna know about it, because someone's gonna make a video, someone's gonna put it on Insta stories, or someone's gonna put it on their Instagram lives. There's just gonna be some type of record of almost everything going on. And we have no footage of this party that was going on, but we do know that there were people in the house. And they say that Pop Smoke was alone in his side of the house or wherever he was. I think that him posting the address on his Insta stories had anything to do with anything. Because as long as there were people in that house, someone could easily say, I just pinned my address, come through. So him posting it, him posting the address on bags, has nothing to do with anything, in my opinion. I felt like when I heard Welcome to the Party, my immediate, instead of listening to the words, which didn't really help, but my immediate vibe when I heard it was more like, oh, this is like demonic music. It sounds demonic. And I've heard a lot of people talk about it. But when you get to know him through social media, he just seems more of like an upbeat, positive person. And again, that's where I feel like people have things messed up, because if you're putting out a persona for your music, obviously that's things that people want to hear. You're putting out this persona, you're still putting out those words. Those words are still coming from you. Whether or not you're a great person and you're super lighthearted and you're super fun and funny and positive, because he's also put out a lot of like uplifting videos about going for what you want to go for in life. Don't let anyone talk you out of it. Don't let anyone discourage you. He said a lot of things like that. And he's always talked about, being able to be an example for the people coming up, for the kids, the next generation coming up. But it's like, yes, you say that, you talk like this in your interviews, but then your music says this. And you can't always expect the universe to make decisions based on who you really are versus the persona that you're putting out. That I wanted to talk about the tarot card readings. And I know I'm sorry in advance that I'm jumping around. My ideas on this paper, I pretty much went through everything. My ideas on this paper aren't really put together. So there were a lot of like videos that said a female has something to do with this, a female is involved. I try to read my Bible every day. I will say, outside of being a spiritual person, I do identify more as a religious person. And I tried my best to read my Bible every day. I usually read the Bible on my phone, King James Version. But then there are also times that I have like a paper copy of the Bible. And sometimes I just let the Spirit lead me to where I need to read in the morning, versus me just, automatically just flipping to the next page on my phone. So this week, the Bible page was turned open to 1 Kings. And I got to read the story of King Ahab, Jezebel, and Naboth, however you want to say his name. I'll say Naboth. Short story. King Ahab, he's a king. He has everything he needs. He's good. He's set. But Naboth had a vineyard that was passed down from his ancestors. And it was what he had. It's what he prided himself in. It's what he worked. He didn't necessarily work for it because it was passed down to him, but he worked hard at it. He tilled the soil. He did what he had to do to take care of his gift. But King Ahab wanted it. King Ahab could have any other piece of land, but he wanted Naboth's vineyard. So King Ahab's wife decided that she was going to get her husband, that vineyard. So she wrote letters to the people. I'll have to correct myself at some point, but the gist of the story is she wrote letters lying on Naboth, saying that he blasphemed against God and that he should be stoned to death. And that's exactly what happened. She lied on him, lied on this just man who works hard, who only has his vineyard. She lied on him, and she got him stoned to death so that she could take the land and give it to her husband. And I felt like that was a sign to let me know that a lot of the tarot card readings, that was a commonality. There was a female involved. And instead of being whoever it was, instead of being happy with all they had, so that also helps me to confirm that it had to be someone who's higher up, someone who has everything they need as a king. But you still want to take away someone else's gift. And that is disturbing. We always want what we can't have, even when we have everything else. Pop Smoke wasn't like, I wasn't like a big fan. You know, he would always be on my popular page on Instagram. And I would just flip by and be like, whoa, that's a good looking man. That's a good looking man. Not knowing he was so young. I would just be like, he is so good looking. Keep passing. Oh, there's another picture of him. He's mad. He looks mad good. All right, keep going. He never got to go on his own tour. He never got that experience. And someone made sure they took that away from him. It bothers me because he's a dark-skinned man who tends to rep for dark-skinned women. I mean, I've watched a lot of his older interviews when they ask him, you know, well, what kind of girl would you like? What are you into? Either a Puerto Rican or a dark skin or a dark skin. I like them dark skins. I love the melanin. And like, how many rappers, good looking rappers, successful rappers, you hear putting on for the dark skins? I'll wait. It makes me think, dang, man, why you had to take away the one who was repping for the dark skins? Like me. People that look like me. Don't know what to call it. A lot of the common questions that people might have, you know, what we do know is he was a young man, came into money, spending a lot of it, doing what he does, being a star. And we also know that he was dating more than one person. We know that in his interviews, people would ask him about his relationships. It would always be, no, I'm not dating. No, I'm looking though. I want a Rican or a dark skin. And in his last interview, his most recent interview with Angie Martinez, he said, I want something nice. Tired of gangsta bitches. Have I cursed this whole time? I try not to curse. I try to speak eloquently without cursing. And it's not to take away anything from anyone. It's clear that he was dating a lot of people. And at his age, at his status, that is expected. Would it be nice if he was able to settle down with one person? Because I feel like when men do settle down with one person, I don't mean settle for someone, but settle down with one person, he's still really young. Well, when men do that, they tend to have their mind even more focused on what's important. They tend to be in a situation where, you know, I have this, I have a family, I have something that I'm living for. So I'm going to keep going hard and being smarter and protecting myself because I want to be alive for you know what I mean? But the whole thing about the female thing, and I also talk about, you know, just how weird I think it is that everyone seems to be laughing at death and crying at birth, which is what technically we're supposed to do. But I just find it just really interesting and weird that people who are supposed to be mourning aren't necessarily mourning. It's social media. Put everything on there. As opposed to taking a break from social media and mourning. And I know people can say everyone mourns differently, but death and life are things that is common to the human experience. And therefore, there are common behaviors. When a woman or a man murders their partner, the police are able to pinpoint, oh, that person is way too cold, or that person is overcompensating for something. They're just common behaviors. And this whole thing is weird to me. The way that people are going about life as if they didn't just lose the bag. And no disrespect to call him the bag, but he was the bag for a lot of people. So I find it just, I don't know. I find it disturbing. I think that was the word that I was looking for. I find it disturbing that people aren't mourning. They're just saying that they're mourning on social media. Then again, I don't know what happens when they go home at night because I'm not there. But if we look at Vanessa Bryant, for an example, she had over 1 million followers at the time of her husband's death. What did she do? She put her page on private because she didn't want everyone going to her page and, oh my God, rest in peace. I'm so sorry for your loss. Sometimes that's not what, especially at that very moment, you need to step away as a human being, step away and grieve. You don't need 100 million people going on your page and rest in peace. I can't believe, oh my God, be strong. You'll get through this. It just happened. I'm not worried about getting through it. I'm worried about even allowing my brain to understand what's going on. So I find it interesting. No offense. I'm just saying how I feel and how I'm viewing things. That I feel like people are kind of like still using him for attention. And no, I'm not talking about the YouTubers. I'm talking about the people who are friends, people who are close to him, females. We can say girlfriends. But specifically, it's weird. It's weird. It's weird. Is it not? I also wanted to touch on his gang affiliations. We know that, he always got the Crip drip. Remember that Mel's TV video? As a matter of fact, that actually brings up just thinking about the fact that he hung out. If you watch that Mel's TV video, there was an interview of Pop Smoke on the block in the Los Angeles, in Brooklyn, Canarsie. He was the 19-year-old, and it looks like he was hanging out with a bunch of 15-year-olds. Everybody was doing whatever they do to make their money. And at that point in time, he had on his ankle bracelet. And, that made me think about how many young people younger than him were really around him. And it also makes me think, where were his OGs? Where were the people that was supposed to be mentoring him? Where were the people that were supposed to be teaching him how to move now that he got money? Now that he's getting money, like real money, not just like street money. Not that street money can be a lot of money, but getting checks versus cash. You know what I mean? Like, where were those people around him? Why didn't he have the right people around him? And it's like, these are questions that we can ask to the end of time. I just know that I wish he was still on this planet. I wish that he was still touring. Still, I wish that he had started touring. I wish that he was on his tour right now. I wish that he was getting money and getting ass and enjoying his life and making more music for people and uplifting kids, uplifting everyone, influencing people to shoot for the stars and aim for the moon. I did not know him, and yet he made such an impact on the world in a matter of a year. And that's powerful. I wish 2020 didn't come with a vengeance. But I do hope that it gets better. So I'm going to be honest, I'm not really here for other rappers that are coming out of Brooklyn like that. I feel like, as I said a million times already, Pop Smoke was it. And it wouldn't surprise me if another rapper has something to do with it. If you getting him out of the way doesn't mean that your career is going to take off. Because sometimes people are stars, sometimes people have it, whatever it is, and sometimes people don't. And it doesn't matter if that person isn't there anymore. If you don't have it, you ain't gonna have it. Yeah, I'm not interested in listening to other rappers. I do feel like, Little TJ and Fabio Foreign are going places. You could never ask me a name of any song that they've ever done outside of the 2 songs that are on Pop Smoke's album, which I think is War featuring Little TJ and Fabio Foreign doing the feature on Sweetheart. Sweetheart is actually my favorite song on Meet the Woo 2. Sound off below, comment down below, and let me know what your favorite song is on Meet the Woo 2. I totally would be interested. I believe it's only like 12 songs. I want to say rest in peace to Bashar Baraka Jackson. Rest in peace to Pop Smoke. Rest in peace to the Woo. You are a legend. I hope to see you in the next life. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.